Hi, I'm Mike Hammond. Welcome back to Detective Story. Appreciate you coming back. If it's your first time, welcome. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Today's a really great program. I've got a good friend on, former co-worker on Chicago Police Department, Josh Weitzman. Josh was a long-time narcotics detective on the Chicago Police Department. Really great guy, has an amazing resume, both on and off the police department. The conversation was really a lot of fun, and we got into some pretty cool stuff, comparing and contrasting the life of a homicide detective and a narcotics detective in one of the biggest cities in the country and the second biggest police department in the country. We talked about some cool things, so I hope you enjoy that. I'd like to encourage you to visit our partners at Station page, and you can do that if you're on the audio end by just typing in your browser station.page/detective story. That link will be in the show notes, and on the video side, we'll have the QR code up. But you can go to that Station page, and they basically are a promoting site where you can interact directly with us. We'll have polls on there. You can tell us what you like, what you don't like about the show. It's just a really cool way to kind of guide what you want to hear from the program or ask questions in furtherance of what you did hear. And you may well have questions from Josh or Chris and I. So please reach out. We really appreciate that. And finally, if you enjoy the show, please subscribe, hit that like button, subscribe, download the episodes. It all does us a great deal of good as far as putting content out for you. So we really appreciate that. Without further ado, we'll move on to the show. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Hi, welcome back to Detective Story. I'm Mike Hammond. Thanks again for joining us. So we haven't seen you in a bit. We're starting to get rolling heavy again here. We took some time. Chris had some powerlifting competitions he's training for. I'm trying to finish my opus of a book that's just not really that great, but I want to finish it.
It's longer than the Bible.
And I've just been waiting.
All these years. But welcome back. We're glad to have you. And so we got a great guest on today. We're going to have a lot of fun. First, always my brother-in-law, Chris Krafkus, my co-host, my pal. And our special guest today is the incomparable Josh Weitzman, who longtime friend and colleague. I think it'll be a fascinating conversation. A little bit of business first, though. We want to give a shout out for guys like Josh and I know even Chris. Well, the Chicago Police Department's a family, and we lost a member a week ago as of this recording, Crystal Rivera. And I'll just say that, bless her and her family and her partner. It's tough. It's hard for all of us when we lose a policeman, especially to violence, when they're trying to do their job. It's kind of a difficult environment right now for these young coppers to be doing their job. So I really admire her. I hated she went out that way, but doing her job, working hard, trying to take bad guys off the street, her and her partner. That's what the job is and should be, to make us all safe. So to her family, we're thinking of you. You're part of our family. And that's that. Also, I lost, since we last were on, I've lost a couple of friends I want to acknowledge that were detectives that trained me, a little older than me, good men. One is Richie Chernikovich. Him and his partner Joe Walsh really taught me a lot as a young homicide detective. Good men, the best, really. Everything they did was quality, detailed. They just really always made me step up my game, and it hurts to lose Richie for all of us. The other's Bob Meddy. Bob Meddy, we lost. Bob, also one of the first Chicago policemen I met when I moved to the city of Chicago, because he'd been Barry Moran's partner, who you guys have heard me talk about probably. Bob, also always great to me, and particularly that crew of three guys really taught me a lot about working the old Chicago outfit murders when I look at cold cases. And So I just want to acknowledge that their families were thinking about you. We'll miss them. And that is that. So without further ado, Josh, let's get into it. I want to talk to you a little bit about your bio and your, you know, how we'll talk about how you and I met and to clarify that. So, as is pretty well known, if you watch this show, I was a homicide detective for quite a bit of time. Josh was a narcotics guy. He also worked violent crimes, but he was a long-term narcotics guy, which brings me to my point. I mean, we can cut this resume down just to like 3 words, right? You love narcotics.
I used to love narcotics.
I love narcotics. I'm a dope cop.
Right.
Started in uniform in Kansas City, came to Chicago in uniform, and all I did was work dope in uniform. Okay. Then I went to TAC in Chicago, and then I went to narcotics. That's all I ever did.
Right. Okay. And then what you're talking about is a little different than Chris.
Yeah, I like doing them.
Okay.
Used to like doing them.
Used to.
You know?
Used to.
He's don't anymore.
Well, you know, I'm in recovery now.
He's clean.
Oh, wow.
I'm clean.
He's clean and
You're
sober.
quitter, aren't you?
You know that I got retired forcibly.
Right. His doctor said, "Listen, 2 choices. You make one.
Live or die." Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that was
It's an
that.
easy choice.
Yeah, I ran my race.
He sure did. You didn't get cheated out of a day.
No,
you and George Jones is waiting for you one day. Shake your hand.
You said it actually, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. Mike just kind of put it out there one time because you don't see a lot of like speed freaks in old age,
Right.
Because there's only so many heartbeats a man can have.
Or obese people. You don't see a lot of old fat people, real fat people. It's not. A heart can't take it,
And
brother.
off to the races.
There we go. So, all right, let's start where we start. You didn't grow up in the city either, did you?
No, Deerfield, Illinois. So the northern suburbs, about 25 miles north.
And you end up in Kansas with college?
I went to University of Kansas for college, came home, started applying for police jobs. And
Did you know in college that that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think I knew probably even before.
Yeah. High school.
But I really wanted to go to the DEA. And that's how much of a dope guy I was. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I applied there. I didn't get hired. And then I applied to a bunch of police departments.
Yeah.
And Kansas City hired me first, so that's where I went.
Yeah, right. Same track. So I get asked a lot when I'm guests on other podcasts, like, was there a moment or something that you kind of knew that you wanted to be a policeman, particularly a homicide detective? And there kind of is for me. Was there for you like a moment like that, or was it kind of a growing process?
I would say Belker from Hill Street Blues is one of my favorite idols. And then, of course, Crockett and Tubbs were my guys.
Oh, yeah,
and
man.
when I worked with my partner in Narcotics, who was a black officer, that's what they used to call us, Crockett and Tubbs.
So you're in your
I lived my dream.
Yeah, right. So this is the question that still bothers me to this day, and you can answer this better than anybody. I love Miami Vice. I love the show. It's groundbreaking, right? Music, the people who are on it.
The film, Michael Mann.
Yeah.
Our guy, Michael Mann.
Yeah, right. Most expensive TV show at the time ever made. But what baffled me, especially, when I got in the police department and started working, was how those guys, every episode they get in a big shootout.
Of course.
Right? And then 10 minutes later, they're in a bar with a bunch of hot women hanging out, or they're on his boat, like throwing fish to the alligator. So you narcotics guys don't have to do any police reports. You get in shootings, you can just go to the bar, you can hang out, whatever you want to do.
I mean, that's why
That's why
so few people work there.
I knew that.
That's why
I knew that.
That's why so few of us ever get there.
Jerk offs.
They don't want to let anybody know how good it is.
It was a very elite club.
Explaining everything on reports.
I got to ask, if you just go back a little bit, you said that you think that you pretty much knew you wanted to do narcotics right away. You wanted to get in the DA. What was it about it that attracted you? I'm thinking I know when I went through high school in the early 80s, there are the kids that like me that smoked, and there was a lot of hard drugs.
Oh,
a lot of hard drugs.
For sure.
And there were some kids that kind of dabbled, some kids that didn't. I was pretty dedicated to hard drugs even back then. What was it about it? Were you pretty much on the straight and narrow? And
No, I mean, I don't think anyone would say I've ever been on the straight and narrow. I think I'm on. Would they, Mike?
I had to ask.
Let's
the
move
question.
to the Wild West scene in 20.
I mean, I wasn't using drugs. I wasn't a big drug, a drug user. But there's plenty of other trouble you can get into. But
For sure.
To me, narcotics. I think from Belker, who was also a Jewish undercover cop, and being a Jew, there aren't many of us of any type of police.
No.
But I loved the idea of being the farthest thing from a policeman, but still being a policeman.
Yeah.
Right. So I was going to piggyback on that, and that kind of gives me that answer. So to explain a little further, like you and I have been friends a long time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we probably
25 years at least.
Yeah, 90s.
Right.
We met, right? And Josh is, most policemen will come to no shock to most people, I think. Most people are pretty conservative, politically conservative. Probably not as much as a lot of people might think, because a lot of us are more socially liberal, but, in terms of, but Josh, one of the more politically liberal, more kind of like open, live and let live guys.
A complete hippie.
Yeah, that I've ever met. And
Dude abides.
Dude abides.
That was always great for me, because I like to be surrounded by people that aren't the same. Everybody's the kind of cookie cutter, right? So to piggyback on what Chris is saying, like you're never going to be a narcotics crusader, right? That wasn't really what it was about.
You mean like against narcotics?
Like out there, like you were driven by this kind of hatred of.
No, but I will say that narcotics pushes all the violence probably in every city.
Most.
Definitely here.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So it's to me, you went the route of homicide detective, right? I like the idea of trying to stop murders before they happen by going the narcotics route and putting people that are killing each other over dope, maybe putting them in jail before they kill somebody.
Right.
So I always like that idea. I also like that you decide on what you want to do in narcotics.
Right. And we've talked about this. One of the things I did work in narcotics for a year.
Yeah, across the hall from each other.
Yep. Before I made detective. And, one of the things first of all, that was a great year for me to kind of learn how to be an investigator. It was great groundwork to be a homicide detective, right? Because first time in our career.
Incredible, I think.
Yeah, we're left alone to search, and you learn things like going through people's trash and all these other things. Phone records have become very important, and then in all of that I learned in that year, basically. But the thing that you and I have talked about this a lot. The one thing that I really always admired about working narcotics investigations compared to murders, with a murder, there becomes at some point a theoretical point, which may not actually exist, but there does come a point at some point where you got all you're ever going to get.
Correct.
Right? You either got enough to identify and charge this person who committed the murder, or you just don't, and you're in that. When you get to that place, you're hoping, for a Hail Mary at best. With narcotics, like unless the guy stops selling dope, you just keep working them. Right?
And the harder it is, the more fun it is, because it makes you think,
Right.
Listen, buying dope's a blast. Going out and buying dope is great. That's fun. But then there's when you're doing a little bit more of a long-term investigation, it's all those other things, the phones, the surveillance, following people, putting GPS on, cars, and there's all kind of things, and so, I made detective a couple years after you, and I went, and I did not enjoy it. I thought I know it's a great job, and I actually did some very good, investigations, but it was not what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I was lucky and was able to go back to gang investigations as a detective, which basically it's gang investigations, but you're working narcotics. I mean,
right.
At least that's how I did it.
Because that's the dynamic.
That's what they do.
Of this city, right?
They sell drugs.
I remember the first time. Actually, just thinking. Remember the first time we met was in a bar. It was some kind of function because it was all cops, and me with you and Jay, and I remember meeting you, and I was like, what's he do? And Mike was like, he's in narcotics, and I was just like, that's just not fair. It's not fair.
That ain't right.
That's not level playing field here.
No, that's right. I mean,
like I'd sell dope to you. I would sell.
I
dope
bought
to
a lot of dope. I should buy dope all over. Not where I worked as a tack guy.
Yeah, right.
Because they knew who I was. But Rogers Park was easy. They sold a lot of dope in Rogers Park.
Yeah, I'm up there.
And then the West Side, of course. I mean, they buy dope. They throw dope at your car on the West Side. I mean,
right. I mean, and a quick synopsis here, again, if you're not familiar, even if you are familiar with Chicago, there's a lot of questions, I think, about how in this city our murder numbers stay so high, why we're always in that kind of, with the exception of a few years, and we can talk about that. There's good reason, I think, for this, but we land in that 600 to 1,000 murders a year consistently for all of our career.
For 40 years, probably, right?
With the exception of a few years. And most of that is generated by, there are socioeconomic issues, right, that are the bigger overlying thing, poverty and that. But really what it is, here we have what we call open-air drug markets, and I don't know what they're called in other places. But what that means is, unlike a lot of places where they have a dope house, where people see that house, they're selling out of that house, and they go into that. Here, we got guys just out on the street, and there's so much. You think, well, how easy is that to stop? Well, I mean,
it's impossible.
It's every corner.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And
there's no stop.
You're talking about a lot of money. I remember, and these numbers are what they are, but the DEA took down guy over at T-Flight, Terry Young, was traveling vice lord over at Flournoy and like Campbell, and they estimated that spot was taking in $75,000 a day.
Easy for sure,
right? I'm not good at math, but that's plenty of money. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money, and
it's $1 million every 12 or 13 days.
Yeah, right. So listen to Mr. Kansas.
That's like staggering, right?
Yeah,
but I mean that's the economics of dope.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen, I was on that I was a DEA task force guy.
Yeah.
We seized millions and millions of dollars.
Right. And all of it here is
millions of dollars.
$10 a piece. And what we'd see when we first come on a job in the early 90s, I worked midnights in Garfield Park, 11th District on the west side, and there's no describing it. On midnights especially, they knew that we had the shortest number of coppers on the street. They knew the specialized units were working midnights usually.
Right.
The TAC teams mostly weren't.
Narcotics definitely wasn't.
Yeah, right. It was beat guys and who they could see, and a few like unmarked
TAC cars.
TAC cars, or what did we call them back at the day?
Bubbles.
I meant the actual when you get assigned incident.
Oh,
like an incident, whatever.
On the watch.
Right.
Yeah.
So we in beat cars as young aggressive policemen, we throw sweatshirts over our uniforms and take binoculars and watch dope spots. And what you would see, this is no exaggeration, and you can back me on this, you'd see these spots where the pack would come out. You'd see a line. First of all, it's easy, right? Because you see a line of 50 to 75 people standing out like they're waiting to go into a concert. And they're standing out there waiting. And what they're waiting for is the money guy and the dope guy to come out. Money guy would come out, right? Tell everybody, get in line, get your money out. Then the pack guy would come out, and it was
boom, boom, boom.
Unbelievable. Those 75 people would be gone in 5 minutes.
And the pack would be gone.
And be gone, right?
And then they'd move the money.
Right.
And bring back another pack.
Right. And back at that time, there were guns everywhere too, right? Security for those spots. I mean, So what we're just trying to do is, all right, who's got the pack?
Right.
Right, and grabbing them. But that's slow business, man. So the violence comes here predominantly from the control of those spots, the competition for those spots. And unlike, we do have powerful gangs in this city, but it's a little different dynamic, right? I mean, in the Spanish neighborhoods, it is a little bit, this is our block, stay off our block, right? More than a little bit, mostly. But in a lot of the other neighborhoods, it is not this, you're on our side.
Well, it was, though. It was. I mean, it was strong.
Yeah, but
the GDs were and that it was strong. What happened is we, under Phil Klein, took down so many of the upper gang guys in these narcotics, the missions, and gangs at that time was doing their thing too.
Right.
That they really destabilized the gang structure.
Right.
So it's these things you think. So when we talk about murders, this is what I say all the time. You cannot police away murders.
No.
You can't. You could have 20,000 police in Chicago and there'd still be 600 to 1,000 murders. You will not police away murders or violent crime, in my opinion. It's exactly what you said. Socioeconomic, poverty,
right.
No hope, no work, no social,
right.
And again, that's the liberal, right? I'm an asshole for thinking that, right? Oh, no, that's the reality. If you can't accept the reality that's been proven since the late 50s,
like if you
about crime in urban areas, how are you ever going to solve anything?
Yeah, you're not, and that's why we don't.
I mean, like if you can't read, how are you going to get a job? And if you can't get a job, what else are you going to do?
Right, and if your school doesn't teach you how to read because the teachers are watching YouTube, and they're just sitting in class.
Yeah, or you're afraid of our.
Correct. So we can go into a million different things.
I think one of the things that always fascinated me, I didn't realize this until like talking with someone that you worked with years ago. He was attached to with the DEA, and one of the things we were sitting having beers, and he explained to me that he's like, what people don't understand is once the hook is in, there's bottomless pockets, and time doesn't matter. Like once they're onto someone, they're just going to work it and work it.
And especially the DEA, because they have unlimited funds.
Right.
Now, CPD, listen, when you go up on a wire, they'll go. You can go a long time.
What's the longest narcotics case you worked?
That I worked?
Yeah.
We did. So we would work a mission, right? So let's just use Ravenswood and Irving Park, right? And we're going to make this up, whatever. It's the P Stones are at, and they're selling drugs at Irving and Ravenswood. That's our target. So now we're going to, we wouldn't work that every day, 8 hours a day. What we would do is probably go, twice a week and make a buy. Maybe another night just doing surveillance, taking pictures, watching their whereabouts. So you could do a mission at that corner for 6 months, but you're not doing it every single day.
Right.
Now the DEA is working that case every day usually.
Yeah.
If they're up on a guy,
right?
They'll so the DEA, like me and like our friend, the DEA runs on task force officers and local police.
Yeah.
So you'll have a DEA team, and it'll have, I think the team I was on had 12 guys. 3 were DEA agents, and 9 were all different. 4 from CPD, a couple from LA Sheriff, a couple from a suburb.
Right.
And the feds, not that they don't do good work and aren't good policemen, they really rely on local law enforcement for the knowledge of the players, for the knowledge of the area, and a lot of times for their informants.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's almost strictly a logistics and manpower issue.
But people don't people have no idea that
No, right.
they think that it's all DEA guys working a DEA case.
There's just not that many of them.
Right, and there aren't, and it's actually they're the minority generally.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Especially in a big city.
Right.
Because they have such a pool to pull from, and
Yeah.
the like Chicago allocates officers to the it's crazy, right? What?
Yeah.
Secret Service, ATF, FBI, DEA, U.S. Marshals,
IRS, right.
and I think probably some other ones that we don't even know.
Right.
So many questions.
But before we get down this road too much, I do want to close this, kind of circle on the one thing with the violence. I did mention that we had a dip in violence for 4 or 5 years where we were down in the 300s and 400s. And actually, to be fair, nationally, there was a kind of a lowering trend
everywhere,
violence, right?
Right.
But in Chicago, there was no question why that was, right? That was, in my opinion, and I'm going to put this on you, but in my opinion, far and away the most effective superintendent in Chicago. We don't have a police chief, we have a superintendent. Far and away the most effective superintendent we ever had as far as curbing violent crime was Phil Klein, right? And in my opinion, I'm not putting
and what was Phil Klein at his heart?
He was narcotics.
He's a dope cop, just like me,
right. And that was the gig. Phil was a narcotics guy, and he knew the city. He knew that's what drove the violence.
Correct.
And he changed the way we did our job.
Correct.
Not everybody was excited about it, but nobody likes change. Not everybody's going to like change. But for us, it was like, well, yeah. I mean, but then a lot of us had worked.
We knew because we worked. You worked narcotics, and you knew Phil.
We knew, how he worked, what he wanted.
Good guy.
Good guy, and the type of guy, and there are others that you'd go on a search warrant, right? And he'd show up as the commander or the chief of detectives
or the superintendent, right?
And you'd see him like in nasty, dirty houses, crawling on his hands and knees, looking under. He wanted to find the.
He knew the spots.
He wanted to find the guns. Whatever we were looking for, he wanted to be the guy that wanted to fight. Right. And so he took that knowledge, and what he did was he changed the way narcotics did business. Right. I won't go into much of that, but to give secrets away, but basically he made it more conspiracy orientated and less buy bust. Right. And he also told, gang intelligence, violent crimes, detectives, like y'all are going to all work together.
Right.
That's all. We're all doing that. And for us, especially guys like Josh and I, that was easy money, right? Because we kind of had grown up that way.
Right.
But that never stopped. I mean, until the day I retired, I was calling Josh saying, hey, I got this guy who's killed over in this spot. You got some guys that can go over there, pick somebody off for me. You know what I mean?
I've never understood the way this police department operates. It doesn't operate well.
Explain it to you real quick.
It doesn't run well.
No.
You have detectives not wanting help or not wanting narcotics to be involved. You have narcotics guys not talking to gang guys. You have gang thinking they're not in narcotics, but they're working gang case. So that was the prevalent way this department operates. Of course, when I went to gangs, I connected with my buddy in narcotics, and we basically just forced them to have us run operations together.
Right.
Nobody was happy about it, though.
Also, I mean, I think
it's crazy.
First, I mean, Klein organized that, and some of us were doing. But you're right that the mentality was certainly before that, hey, this is our shit.
People kept shit. People kept secrets.
It was really.
Is it still that way?
I believe it is.
Yeah. I mean, because everybody's trying to protect their spot. Not everybody.
Mike is much better about not shitting on the police department than I am. That's for sure.
Well, yeah.
I will tell you, it's absolutely still that way, don't you think? I think there's obviously guys that don't do that and are all for using everything they can.
The story has always been, right, I mean, the colloquialism has always been, 20% of the policemen do 80% of the work, or 10 and 90 or whatever.
Oh yeah,
right?
I thought it was 98 and 2.
Yeah. Right. And that's
I thought
That's getting edited out.
nah, man. I mean, that's not a that's probably true in a lot of careers, right? But
For sure.
But so that's that. First of all, you got a hardcore group of people that are working, and then some people who are just not. And I am a Chicago police apologist, no question about it.
And I'm a Chicago policeman till the day I die. It's not that I'm proud to be proud of our city and the department, but I also don't think things change unless you're honest about them.
Right. No, and
same
you're
as
right.
we were talking about with crime.
You're right about that. I mean, that's part of the reason you and I have always gotten along.
Of
have
course.
so much fun, because we can have these conversations. And I know what I am but I'm also not afraid to admit.
Right.
We, especially, I mean, if you want to talk about the politics of the city of Chicago and the politics of Chicago Police Department, yeah, I'm down for that all day. It's a problem.
Scary.
It's awful. It causes, it literally causes coppers to die.
Oh, the fact that when you talked about the officer that was just killed, the fact that isn't every week blows my mind still.
Right. We have, I mean,
really.
When
you see the way,
right.
I mean, it's scary.
I've been, and again, you're talking about a guy here, especially, and two guys who live and die Chicago Police Department, love it. But you do have to face facts and be honest about it. And I was retired at this time, but I will go to my grave angry. We had another young policewoman killed a few years ago, Ella French, who on a felony stop had her gun in her holster.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault. She was told to do that. She was instructed to do that by the highest, my opinion, sue me all you want. I don't give a shit. It is what it is, by the highest level of politicians in this city. And it is absolutely unacceptable. It goes against basic training of law enforcement, against all tactics. And you are a tactics guy, and I want to get that, because that's a whole big different part of your career.
Which doesn't go with most of it.
No, but that people should have gone to jail over that. It's never going to happen in this city.
And I'll tell you what else. I also blame the police department for the numbers game they play. And they push these young coppers. Yeah. She was one of them, I think 2 or 3 years, right? And she was in that, I don't know what initials they called that unit at the time, but it was like True or something. And they pushed them to get stop cars.
Yeah, but don't
pull your gun, and don't put people on the ground, and don't handcuff people though.
Right.
But stop 100 cars tonight, or you don't get, you're in trouble. You could get dumped out of this unit and be back in district. And you have 3 years on, and don't know your asshole from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
But stop all these legitimate killers on the west side or the south side. Yeah. Or guess what? There's killers on the north side too. People may not think about that, but there's plenty.
Killers everywhere.
There's plenty of them on the north side because they don't get messed with.
Listen, it doesn't. You and I know this as much as anybody. It doesn't matter if you are a state trooper in the middle of Nebraska.
Correct.
You're working on the west side of Chicago, or you're working in New York City or Los Angeles. It doesn't matter. You stop enough cars.
Correct.
Who are not for violations or
whatever you're determining to stop them for. That's what I'm going to say.
You're going to run into somebody violent.
Oh,
it's just going to.
You're going to fight. You're going to have to physically pull people out of cars. Right. You're going to have guns pulled on you.
Yeah. And you and I have had this discussion for years. Like, we get a lot. Like, that's scary being narcotics guy, homicide guy, tech guy on the west side, Chicago, south side of Chicago, north side of Chicago. Don't matter. In the city of Chicago proper, right? Well, it is, but what always freaked me out, especially, when I was in the cold case homicide unit, we were under a federal grant, and So we travel often, and in old cases, witnesses have spread to the
all
four
over the
winds,
country.
so we get a lot of traveling. And man, you meet these policemen in these rural places. I think this is scary as shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because help might be 40 minutes away. In Chicago, you're fighting with a bad guy who doesn't want to go to prison, wants to kill you. If you're waiting 40 seconds for help,
A minute, right? A minute is like
and
Kansas City, dude. Kansas City had 5 sectors for the whole city. One of the sectors, it literally from one end to the other was 25-minute drive.
Yeah, right. So
if you're there, and like on midnights, there might be 4 guys working.
Yeah, and I could tell you from my own experience, like there is nothing. I don't think. Well, I'll talk just personally for me. There was nothing more stressful as a police officer, as stressful as getting shot at, as stressful as fighting with someone who's trying to take your gun, who's not going back to prison. As stressful as any of that is being in a squad car, hearing the voice of a policeman,
someone yelling for help,
calling for help in a tone
is
they
real.
Need help.
No, it's
they
real.
They need help, and you fucking cannot get there fast enough.
No.
And I grew up near Indianapolis, so like I believed I was AJ Foyt,
right?
And that's how I took suspension time early in my career.
Oh, you got wrecked. You're wrecked.
So,
yeah.
In fact, my boss once told me, like, you're doing fine, but wreck one more car and you're going to have enough time to take a balloon around the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but I would, that's what happens. You're like, can't get and now I'm talking about like being 3 minutes away.
Right. No, 4 blocks away sometimes. It's like when you're working in 11 or 15.
So I in a way, I guess I'm giving a shout out always to all policemen, but to these guys out on the road and officers.
I always tell people, narcotics is the safest and the easiest because you plan what you're doing. Now, yes, shit goes out the window,
right?
But you have a team. You have, if I was buying, I knew my partner was within, running distance to me, and then everyone else was close. If my partner was buying, I could get out of the car and run to him, which I had to do a few times.
Yeah.
Interesting. I kind of push Mike on this sometimes for information because I think the history of narcotics in the city of Chicago, right? Heroin and cocaine, right?
Oh, of course. And reefer, but that's
primarily heroin and cocaine. But that's kind of a.
And then a little bit of meth in Boys Town.
But meth really never took off in the city the way it did in other...
Only in Boys. So, crack didn't hit in Chicago. You know why crack didn't hit?
The gangs prevented it.
Yeah. Because they knew they couldn't control it.
It did eventually, but...
that was it. Once it hit, they were right.
We were 2 or 3 years behind.
Maybe even a little longer.
Possibly.
I mean, I lived in 89, I lived on Howard and...
Yeah,
Sheridan.
I know Howard very well, dude. There was plenty of cocaine there.
I try to explain it to people. Like I'd be walking from my car 2 blocks away.
Oh, and how many guys would ask?
It was like a zombie movie, man. All of a sudden, you're a little white dude
and
walking,
and they all come out of nowhere.
Nowhere, and
the mist.
Yeah, dude,
they come out of the fog.
It was insane. Right. It was like where did he come from?
Yeah.
I was just standing there. How the did this guy get behind me?
Because they're
out of the shadows.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, do you think now, like let's kind of pull the thread of the violence that you guys are talking about and the change in because I think the narcotics environment has changed. It is more violent than it seems to me more violent than it's ever been with the increase of involvement of the cartels here in the city. Is Chicago more violent? Is it more dangerous to be a policeman in the city of Chicago now than it has been in the past?
No, actually, I don't think so.
Well,
even the numbers show.
I think that to the narcotics part of it, I'll let Josh answer that too. I think it is it's probably more dangerous for young policemen right now than it's ever been simply because of the politics. Right. I mean, it is not as dangerous, I don't think, on the street as it was in the
early 70s, especially,
or the
early 90s too.
Mid 90s.
Yep. there were 900 and 1,000 murders.
Yeah, the 90s were a shit show, man. And even into my first couple of years as detective, 2000,
It was still wild.
I think we had 900.
Yeah, 880 for sure. One of those
just in 11th district, which is only, 24 square blocks or something.
Yep.
But when you're out there and you know what's going on and the job is to get home, and there was big consequence in a lot of ways back in the day if you shot at a policeman. The courts took it more seriously. But even the gang structure, and I think that's what Josh can really tell you about with it. The gang structure has changed dramatically in that it is a vacuum now. Whereas
totally
when we were young, I knew in the West Side, I knew who had every tip, basically. And there were guys who knew a lot better than me, but I'm just saying, I knew the guys. And so, there were times where shit would go down, you just go to the guy and say, look, whatever, you got a rapist working in your neighborhood. This is your neighborhood. We want him off the street. The sex crimes dicks would come to us, trying to find guy. No, we don't want him thumped or dead, and we just need. And then
tell us where he is. Find out.
They're not going to ever say, they're not going to really cooperate. But you get a call saying, "Hey, that dude you're looking for is standing outside."
Well, that's pretty real cooperation.
Yeah, it is. But that was the thing. And also, if some young buck took a shot at a copper, the guy running the tip was not going to be pleased, man, because
they would either kill him or turn him in.
Yeah, right.
They may kill him. Some of those guys got killed for sure.
Think about the math again. $75,000 a day,
right?
And for 2 weeks, the coppers.
Yeah. That corner. If a copper gets shot, that costs because then it's everyone's concentrated where that shooting was. The district. They send narcotics in to make buy busts. They send gangs in. They send everybody's there.
Right. And I know there are going to be people to hear this and say, well, there you go. Strong-handed. I'm not apologizing for any of that.
Nothing illegal. There was nothing. It's not that the police were doing anything illegal, but they were. Guess what? Same as when a regular civilian gets killed.
Yeah,
it's just you get that same.
A kid gets killed, as an example.
You get that same influx.
We're out there. I mean, you're not. Business is done until we start getting
and sometimes for weeks.
Yeah, right. And then especially after Klein was the superintendent, you could really bring down a lot of heat on him because you're the target now, brother. Ain't no going away. The downside now. I'll turn this over to Josh. If there was a downside, I think we did everything that we did. This is sometimes I think. What is not gotten across enough. The police department doesn't exist in a vacuum. We can't cure all society's ills. We can do what we can do, and it's always bad news when we're showing up, right? But I think we did what we were supposed to do. We took off a lot of those major players. We took down a lot of those spots. We pushed the numbers down. But as a society, we didn't do anything to change the culture of which creates all that, right? And
if you think about it, I'm going to go way out on a tangent here, but this is coming from demand. This isn't a supply side problem. This is a demand side problem.
It's all of it. On the supply side, it's easy money.
Right.
It beats working at McDonald's for at that now it's $16 an hour. When we started, it was $7 or $6 or $4. Right. So you could make $150 a day, right, on the corner every day. So there is that. I guess it's an endless supply of people willing to sell dope. Right.
Yeah. But you're correct.
Yes, of course.
Without the demand, it doesn't.
As a recovering drug addict, I never thought about while I was using. I never thought about the fact that the every bag of cocaine that I bought off of somebody probably had a couple bodies attached to it. Right.
From the start, from Mexico, from the jungle in Mexico.
Look at the violence in Mexico, and the violence in Mexico is because of the economy of narcotics
and drugs. It's all 100%
drugs, right? It's all money and drugs, and that's being fueled by the demand in
America. All over the world.
All over the world.
So, but that's human nature. If you look through the history of mankind, there's always been some type of brain-altering, mind-altering substance used by human beings.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So that speaks to the point that if we can't remove demand, then the narcotics division of the Chicago Police Department is absolutely essential, right?
Well, to me, narcotics should have the most officers and be the strongest part of your police department. Generally, it has the least and not that it isn't strong, but, Chicago until 93, I think, had 87 or 100 people in their narcotics unit. We had 12,000 police officers.
How many billions of dollars do you think goes through the city in narcotics a year?
Again, I worked, when I was on that task force, I think we seized, I don't even know how much, hundreds of millions we seized.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that
up. And that's in a 6-month time period.
Because in my mind, the reason I bring that up, in my mind, you said something a couple minutes ago about, not being able to fix society's problems. You guys aren't there to fix society's problem. You guys are like standing on the wall.
Correct. Well, I agree.
You guys are pushing back. The only thing pushing back against this constant flow and pressure of the economy of narcotics,
right.
and the damage.
And maybe we're keeping it from looking like Juarez.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Maybe that's what we're doing. Right. Maybe the work keeps it from being, heads hanging from overpasses, right? Driving down the Kennedy.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's what CPD does, right? Because we sure don't stop crime. We sure don't change society necessarily. No. I think we help the city for sure.
100%.
Because I think a good amount of the people that go to jail need to be in jail. Yeah. So I do think that we do help with that.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that exists as a policeman, the reason you want to do it, and the reason you want to do it well, and the reason you want to do, once you get in it, then you're working beside the people you care about, and you don't want to let them down. You want to do the right thing. You want whatever. But also, in the end, it is like when that person out there in the city, something that completely unexpected and horrible happens to them, and they're calling, it's the worst moment of their life, and they're calling for help. They're hoping that somebody from the police department gets there quickly, and they're hoping that that person that gets there is competent, motivated, and empathetic.
What they really are hoping for is that me and Mike come.
I was just going to say.
Because me and Mike will sit down and talk to people. No matter what color they are, no matter what neighborhood they live in, no matter how old they are, and treat them like human beings. Yeah. And I think there's lots of cops that do that. I'm not saying we're the only two.
Yeah.
I think there's phenomenal policemen from patrol to every unit, but there's also guys that aren't as good, especially at dealing with people that way. I'm not saying they're not even. No, they could still even be good policemen.
Yeah, no.
I based my entire career on talking to people. Everything I've done in my career is based on informants, and I'd
argue that's the job.
That's 100%. That's 100% the job.
That's building relationships.
Correct.
Right. That's true with your homicide detective or
no, I agree.
Narcotics person. Your ability to get people to talk to you, and the way to do that is not to scream and yell and intimidate them.
Call them names or.
Who's going to respond to that?
Right. You guys are on the street. Sometimes you're in the same neighborhood for years at a time.
Correct.
If you're not able to build relationships in that neighborhood, how are you going to do your job effectively?
One of the greatest things that I'm the proudest of in my career was I had worked in a district in 95 through 99. Patrol and TAC in the district. Right before I got off the job because of my shoulder problems, I was working out of Area 3 or Area North. I'm sitting at a desk typing or doing something, and somebody gets on the thing and says, Weitzman phone call. Pick up the phone. It's a kid that I used to chase around the 23rd district when he was about 17 through 22. calls me and he says, I looked for you. I couldn't find you. And somebody finally put me here. He goes, I've got a good hit for you, Weitzman. They call me Weitzman. I got a good hit for you.
Because you are a wise.
I got a good hit for you. So this guy, he was the leader of the Vice Lords in 99. His partner now, 25 years later, pissed him off, shorted him on some dope and money. He called and gave the guy up, totally. And that was the guy I hadn't talked to probably in 20 years.
That's just based on building a relationship.
Right.
Right?
So to me, that was, it's funny when you retire, what you think about, like, that's how you know you kind of did something. You were good at what you did.
Right. No, yep. Heard. Sorry, let's shift just a little bit. Another big part of your career is you've always been a big tactical guy, trainer. In fact, I know you're an Ed Calderon kind of student guy. Ed Calderon is a badass former special forces guy in Mexico.
Yeah, very cool guy.
The hardest job in the world to be incorruptible
counter narcotics guy.
And he is if you don't know anything about Ed, watch his stuff. It's amazing, shocking. He's great at what he does.
Yeah, very cool.
You trained under him at least once, right?
Yeah, I did a weekend seminar with him.
But so I thought about like doing the cool ass special forces bro EDC dump.
Yeah.
All right, let's see your EDC. What you got? But then I realized no. First of all, it's only an hour and a half show. And second,
it might take longer. But I did wear shorts. So there's nothing that you see here. If I had pants on, that'd be a different story.
Right. I tell Chris all the time, if you ever saw the movie Big Easy, there it is.
Yeah.
John Goodman's going there. Yeah. Internal Affairs calling in, and it takes him 20 minutes to take off. I'm not saying that's Josh. I'm also not saying it's not Josh.
Yes.
So
I do. I'm a knife guy. I was always a gun guy. It's very sad to me with my shoulder. I really don't shoot.
Yeah.
Anymore.
So just a little background. Always a guy I knew who was really, really serious about that. So
I started shooting when I was about 14. I started shooting IPSC, International Practical Pistol Association or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you would shoot, move. Not bullseye training, not bullseye shooting. Yeah. So I was 15. Shooting against, 30, 40, 50-year-old guys, all up in the Waukegan Smoke and Gun, had an indoor range. There were a couple outdoor ranges. So my dad would go with me, and I would shoot in the competition. So that's when I started. And then as I've shot guns all, until I became a policeman. Then I shot more, obviously carried more guns. And then I would shoot on my own. They gave you bullets. You could go down to the area in the basement and shoot. I shot, so I knew all the range guys then. And I was a good shot from being a policeman in Kansas City, I think helped, and shooting my whole life. So the range guys like you if you can shoot, generally,
Yeah. When we went through the academy, they were churning people out. We went through.
There were thousands of 1,000 recruits.
Yeah, I mean,
I was disqualified.
They were
admission of narcotics use.
Well, you know what? It wasn't the narcotics.
Hi, this is Mike Hammond. Welcome back to Detective Story. We really appreciate you joining us again. I'd like to take a quick moment from the show to tell you about our sponsor and friends over at Blue Knight Security Solutions. Blue Knight Security Solutions is a security investigative firm that can handle any of your needs in that regard. I use them myself when I need investigative work done for the show or old cases that I get called on. Any of my friends, family, anybody I know and care about that needs security for their work, home, business, event, I send them to Blue Knight. I trust them. I believe in them. I wouldn't be speaking up for them in that regard if I did not. So contact them at BlueKnightSecuritySolutions.com, BlueKnightSecuritySolutions.com. Reach out for me and I'll get you to them. Thank you again. Enjoy the show.
That got you disqualified. It was the admission.
Yeah,
That's what got you disqualified. Yeah. That's for sure. In fact, I might kick you off this couch.
I was
actually for that. Mike said you were. You said you were a fucking real guy.
I was counseled by someone on the job to be honest. In my defense,
it wasn't me or Mike. I can tell you that.
Admit nothing. Deny everything. Make counter accusations.
I should call him out on this. I think because you know him. I think he told me
bad advice.
I think he gave me that advice.
As we know, he didn't want you to be on the job.
Yeah. He was like, I'm going to get. I'm
going to
pick
your friends better.
I'm going to make sure he doesn't.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
he's your family, so I know you didn't pick him.
No, it was my roommate. God damn it.
It's unbelievable.
You know exactly who it was. He's like, make sure you got to tell him that way.
Actually, I was checking through my head to make sure your mom didn't pay me to do that. But
so Chicago Police, the second largest police department in the United States, had no SWAT team.
Right.
Yep.
Hostage.
Figure that out. I'll tell you, I was part of the start of it. The narcotics unit decided we're going to make an in-house entry team to do narcotic search warrants. And I was part of that team. So that was phenomenal training. And I became part of that team. And then I actually then made detective, so I had to leave narcotics. That team got absorbed with the HBT team to become what is now the SWAT team.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was because the narcotics unit did that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and
they became a real SWAT team. HBT didn't do search warrants.
To be fair to my guy, Fred Bossy, who we lost.
Extraordinarily, Fred Bossy.
He was good to me. I liked him. We did have that hostage barricade, but the problem was the logistics were terrible. It wasn't their fault. They had guys training.
Oh, I'm not saying the guys on the team weren't qualified, but their mission was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
They wouldn't serve warrants.
Well, not only that, I mean, they
How do you not?
Well, they probably would have somebody.
No,
but
your guy,
Fred would said no. Oh, okay,
did not like the idea of serving narcotics warrants.
Well, the issue was too that they weren't dedicated full time.
I understand. Right. The whole thing was ridiculous. So the fact that it changed was a huge positive for the city. Tremendously.
I mean, the reason that, we chase so many armed people into houses, well, we like doing it. But also, like, if you called HBT, like, hour and a half, 2 hours for them
before they showed up.
Muster to get out there, and it's not their fault. If they
didn't have enough guys
in the office, they've been
and they didn't have enough people, and they had them right. And
all those guys are gonna be pissed at me now, trying to walk this.
Why?
back.
You didn't say anything wrong.
No, I'm just trying to.
I think they would agree.
They would agree, no doubt,
completely.
It was and that was just a pure, I think, post '60s.
It was that old school CPD. No, and it was old school CPD bullshit. I think.
I mean, yeah, but. I mean, back in up until the 50s, the detectives, I could be out of school with this, but certainly through the 30s and 40s, detectives had Tommy guns.
Correct. Well, listen, that's what we were talking about, the heavy weapons team that Phil Klein reenacted for detectives, which I was part of. So you had access to shotguns and finally ARs, but originally it was shotguns. And they were shorties. They were really nice Benelli shotguns, and you got real good training in them.
Yep.
And so that was Phil Klein, another Phil Klein thing.
Did you ever shoot a Tommy gun down there?
I never did.
Yeah, I did once.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They're cool. The typewriter.
Yeah, it would. It'd be a pain in the ass to carry that thing around all the time.
Heavy, dude. And just the magazine.
145 rounds.
Dude.
Yeah. The whole thing with that thing was leaning into it because
it's every that's every machine gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You really
it's because it won't barrels take off on you.
It's wild, yeah.
Especially now. I mean, the idea of I know that there's a whole bunch of people out there that are going to talk about the militarization of the police. However, on the other side, it is not hard for a criminal to get a hold of some pretty heavy weaponry.
Well, I'll tell you, I think if they're just talking about the equipment, it's ridiculous, right? Because we should have the best equipment.
100%.
And we should have whatever we need available. My thinking about the militarization of the police isn't necessarily so much the equipment, but the method.
And the mentality.
I wanted to bring this up. I thought about this for this you're seeing it on the news now. they say they're ICE agents and they have masks on and they won't tell you their name or show their face. I don't know of any law enforcement where that's okay, other than an undercover guy wearing a mask when he goes into the search warrant. To me, that is frightening.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I
don't know where I fall on that exactly. I guess yeah. I'd like to hear a reason for it. You know?
Well, they say the reason. The officers are being threatened with their identity being known.
Okay, well then
don't be a cop.
Yeah, but no, I'm not done with that.
You're saying you think that's enough reason? We had to stand out there with our name tags on for our whole careers. Every cop has to.
Yeah, but anything that policemen need to protect themselves, I'm okay with.
Well, but that's a ridiculous thing because it's the nature of the job.
Yeah, but the nature of the job, you're supposed to go home. Look, you and I have seen a lot of policemen die. I don't want to see that anymore. You know what I mean?
Right, but policemen wearing masks and grabbing people.
The back end of that for me is to all right.
That's scary to me. Yeah. Militarization.
Okay, and it's fair. But for me, if you're telling me that if groups do show up to ICE agents' homes and do damage or threaten them or anything else, there's going to be severe retribution for that. Okay, I'm with you. Then yeah. But if there's not, then do what you got to do to protect yourself.
I mean, I don't.
That's all.
Well, I don't.
Me.
Yeah, I mean,
I just, I mean, that's a deep hole to get.
I can tell you this. I didn't put it on the resume, but I had a verified contract on me by the vice lords. Confirmed, verified.
How much damage did you have to do to their operations to get that hit?
This was when I was in uniform too. So they were so not used to policemen messing with them. I mean, there were some, of course, and some good ones, but so they knew me. I mean, every day I had to drive. I drove home a different way and looked in my rearview mirror, and that's part of the job, bro.
Yeah, but the truth is too. I don't want to get in a big argument with you about this because you have the right to feel it. You've earned your ability to feel how you feel about it. But the truth is, man, that SWAT teams and FBI SWAT teams, the DEA, they've gone in with their faces covered for years on stuff.
SWAT teams.
Yeah.
Right, doing search warrants.
Right.
That's different than.
Well, and that's
a completely different, you know what I mean, scenario. I agree.
Is it? Yeah. Well, it is a distinction for you. For me, it's if safety is safety.
Well, then we shouldn't have name tags on, right?
I'm okay with it.
And star numbers.
Yeah.
No. I don't know what to tell you because every cop out there is putting their putting their name out there. We're in the paper. We're everywhere. So I just think. I don't like to see that because that is not the norm.
Right. That's
especially in America.
I hear what you're saying, no doubt. I hear what you're saying. So, does that answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Ask another one. Cut. Print it onto the Wild West scene.
I mean, I want to go back to just to kind of put. I meant to say it before, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. Go back. You were talking about one of the most frightening and stressful things is hearing someone in distress and the amount of time that it's going to take for you to get there. To kind of put that in perspective, a boxing round is 3 minutes, right? Yeah. Three minutes to get someplace. If someone is struggling for that 3 minutes, that's a lot of time.
Oh, I've had guys. I've been fighting people alone. Grabbing my gun.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. It does.
That's a long time.
It does. And we went years ago on special operation. Two guys, great policemen, called for help, and they were the type of guys which we all know that they call up for help at all. It's like, oh shit, But when they have stress in their voice, you're like, oh,
immediately.
It's on, Yeah. And what happened is they saw a guy with a gun on the street, and they went to grab the guy, and he took off. Muscular, big guy, just out of prison, it turns out. And they the three of them, these two guys are good sized guys too, and they get into a hallway, a stairway going in. It's small, and the one guy, the one copper is in front, grabs him, got him, and the guy's trying to get his gun out. He's trying to shoot him. As it turns out, I mean, the guy laid out for him afterwards exactly
what was going to happen. Yeah,
because he told him later, like, thanks for not shooting me or whatever.
Right.
'Cause I was not going to go back. I was going to shoot you. But so the main copper, he can't. He's too close quarters. He's just trying to keep control of the guy's hands, so he can't get his gun out. He can't get to his own gun because he's got enough going on. Partner is behind him, can't get around either one of them. And so the first guy starts telling his partner, shoot him. But he can't get a shot, or he's not comfortable taking a shot.
He was probably right not to.
Yeah, because he can't get.
He might have shot his partner, as we just talked about.
You're right. I mean, he just, these are two sharp guys, know what they're doing, and he's not afraid. He wasn't comfortable taking a shot. So at the time, my partner, Sam Manto, who I do have permission to use his name, and I were closest. We were not the closest, but district coppers, for whatever reason, didn't go. And which, another dynamic. But we get there, and I mean, what the hell do you do? Basically, we bull rush, played
bull in the ring.
Like his father was a pro wrestler. Basically, just did off the high rope and squished everybody.
Him down. That's right.
And and they were able to get the gun away from him. And but it is no bullshit. The guy told him, "Thanks for not shooting me because I was not going back." You know what I mean? He's on parole. He's looking at time. But it took Sam and I probably, I shouldn't even get into the rest of that, but it took us probably, a minute or 2 minutes to get there. We were pretty close. It felt like forever. And then once we saw what was going on, it was like, holy shitski, you know what I mean? But it worked out, thankfully for everybody. But I mean, that's what you're talking about. That is not an anomaly. It's not like it happens every day, although it might happen every day in this city.
Or close to it.
It happens 2 or 3 times a week in this city, I promise.
Yeah.
Where you are, the amount of, this is a deep hole, and Josh, you can jump all over my shit, feel free, but the amount of people over the years in my career that I or other policemen I was working with didn't shoot, that probably were certainly justified and maybe foolish not to have, is staggering.
Oh, I never shot anyone, and I've recovered hundreds of guns. I could have shot and gotten awards. Mike, too. They would have been great. You would have been hailed for the shooting. I never wanted to have to shoot anyone.
No, and I don't.
If I didn't have to, and I made it through without.
Right. And I don't know that anybody, hopefully nobody does. I mean, whatever, that's a different conversation.
Well, that's their business, right?
That is their business. But, I mean, hopefully nobody does. But there are times where you simply don't have a choice, one.
Correct.
And you've heard me talk about that. Yeah. Both of you guys talk about that. You don't have a choice. You have to do what you have to do. Because if you let somebody die because you don't want to do that, then also
you shouldn't be a cop.
Yeah, you're in the wrong line of work, right? So the other part of it is there is this fine line where it does become foolish, like take this shot or not take this shot or not.
Surroundings matter, who's around, where's this happening, what's going on. And you get lucky. Sometimes you just flat out get fucking lucky. You know what I mean? I think luck is a huge
it really
part of our career.
When you're chasing people down dark alleys.
The fact that me and you are still here, alive, if you look at our two careries.
Given the amount of work that you guys have done and the situation you've been in.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's dangerous. As Crystal Rivera's is unfortunate proof, it's a dangerous gig. It just is a dangerous gig. And I don't know a single policeman that cries the blues about that, but it's unfair not to acknowledge it, I think, too, So,
and it's back to what we talked about earlier. patrol, in my opinion, is by far the most dangerous.
Agreed.
I mean, it's just
you don't know what
you don't.
Yeah.
You get called to an address.
Agreed.
You know, detectives are going to interview people. They're going to watch house. Narcotics has the whole plan.
Yeah.
Gangs had a plan. You know,
Yep.
even TAC guys have more of a plan, right? Patrol, you go where they send you.
You're right.
And you don't know what you're.
I mean,
Every domestic, every single domestic.
I might be wrong, and I think people would argue with me about it, but I mean, I live in the city, right? I hear the gunshots. I hear it
every night,
right? I know in my neighborhood what's going on, and there's been more shootings in my neighborhood in the last 6 months than in the last 15 years. I mean, right by my house.
Maybe your little area
across the street from right next to the bar, shootings. You know, I mean, so if I know the amount of guns that, I mean, I work in the bar business. I have friends on both sides of the fence. I know the amount of guns that are out there, you know, and it's a question of just dumb fuck luck, pulling over the wrong person at the wrong time. And
but it does go back to what Mike was saying. It's you don't have the maybe as good a training or as much training. You're maybe told don't draw your gun, you know, or be careful when you draw your gun. Like, you know, when I stopped cars, my gun was out.
Yeah.
My gun was never in the holster.
Yeah.
No, because what's the point?
Ever.
I mean, I've been pulled over.
I used to tell guys when I would stop them, this can go back in the holster. I need to make sure you don't have anything on you.
Right.
This goes in the holster, and we talk like gentlemen.
No, I mean, to this day, you know, when I'm driving somewhere like on an interstate and I get pulled over, rarely happens. I'm a very, very good driver, but I get pulled over, especially. What? Got something to say? I think Chris has something to add. Hold on, I think Chris has something to add. Go ahead.
Do you remember that time on the expressway? We went up on the ramp, on the grass to get around the car.
We were filming a movie. What are you talking about?
It was awesome. 75.
He says he drives fast, but he's late to everything.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know about this fast driving because I've known you 25 years. You've never been on time or early.
Used to drive fast.
Not once.
Used to drive fast. In retirement.
Right. What do I say to that?
Slowed down considerably.
Boy, it sucks when people do slap you with the truth. You know what I mean? But you know, when you are late, you have to drive fast.
That's true. I guess you're right. You'd be later.
What?
You'd be later otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What are you not getting about that? But anyway, back to the point. I get pulled over. Especially if it's at night, but anytime, you know, I cant the front end of my car out so the copper has some protection against traffic. I roll all four windows down and I put my hand on the steering wheel. You know what I mean? And so, you know, hopefully it is what it is, but at the very least, they can see in my car because all four windows are open. I don't even have tinted windows, and they can see my hands. You know what I mean? Now, if it's me and somebody does that, I'm sure coppers thinking, you know, this guy's hiding some shit.
Correct.
Got something going on. But whatever. That's the safest play. It just is, right? So, anyway, that's that. But so we've talked a lot about a lot of heavy stuff here today, which is cool, and that was. We really haven't got the opportunity to dive into that on this show, so I appreciate that with you. Do you mind? I would like to talk. There's a whole nother side to Josh Weitzman.
No. Here we go. Yeah,
let's see. What do you got for me, brother?
Right. No, I wasn't going to talk about your film career.
All right.
No. Do you mind talking a little bit about your father and your personal history, just a little bit, in terms of like your father's a pro wrestler?
My
correct?
dad grew up in Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm.
His father owned pawn shops. His father came to America. That's my grandfather, Nate, who my son's named after.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
1900, he got here. He owned his first pawn shop at 17, so 1917. At the height, he had 7 of them. And so my dad tells a story that he used to work at the pawn shop when he was about 10, I think. He would have to put a milk crate behind the counter, so he was tall enough to stand over the counter. So he worked at the pawn shop. My dad was a very good athlete, basketball, football, wrestling. He played them all. He went to a small private school in Hyde Park. It was called Harvard High. Doesn't exist anymore. And he always would say he graduated 12th in the class. There were 13 in the class.
That's fine. Wasn't he last?
At least he wasn't last.
Yeah.
And then he went to Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa.
Okay.
Someone from the school knew someone at that school, and that was the connection there. And he played football, basketball, and wrestling. And in the yearbook, it says Robert Weitzman, senior year, SJ. SJ was for Super Jew. Because I think there were there might have been 5 Jews at the school. This is 55 to 59, I think, he graduated.
Is that an honor or a real insult?
It's an honor because there was a football game on Yom Kippur.
Oh.
Instead, my dad played the game, but on the bus to the game, he had the prayer book and did the prayers.
Nice.
Yeah, so he grew up, they kept kosher. He goes to Grinnell, Iowa. Well, what do they eat in Iowa, first of all, in the 50s?
Salt pork.
Pork. That's all they eat. Every
pork.
meal.
Yeah.
He says for 3 weeks, and it's the football camp, right? He ate peanut butter and jelly, and then he finally said one morning, he's like, give me the egg, give me bacon. And he said, I never looked back. Then he was all pork all the time.
Like everybody. Like
Once he broke, well, that was it. He goes, hey, I'm screwed anyway. I might as well just enjoy it.
For those of you who don't know, that's how we break him down.
So then he graduated Grinnell, where he played football, basketball, and wrestling. Loved football, played a little semi-pro football, and he said it was the worst thing he ever did because it was old pros who were mad and young guys who couldn't make the pros who were mad. And everyone wanted to just kill each other.
Right.
So then he gets into law school. He goes to Paul Law. And to make some extra money, he starts professional wrestling. And he goes to the ring with a judge's robe and a gavel, and he's Dr. Justice.
Dude, this is the best, man.
So my dad was 6'4", 285. My dad made me look small. He was a big dude. Blonde hair, blue-eyed. They call us the Lost Tribe. The Weitzman, the Lost Tribe. The Viking Jews. Very few of us. If I had a penny for every time someone said, you don't look like a Jew, I'd be a billionaire. Not a millionaire. I'd be a billionaire.
Here we go.
Just so you know.
Every meal Nazis
Mike will tell you that names like that, that's my new favorite nickname, the Viking Jew.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's the Weitzman. My dad had blonde hair and blue eyes.
The name of this episode has to be the Viking Jew.
I love it.
The Viking Jew.
So he starts pro wrestling. He's having fun. The promoter grabs him after one of the shows. He goes, "Fuck law school. I'll make you a star. We'll travel the world." Because, so like he was a real athlete.
Yeah.
My dad goes, "Get the fuck you." So that kind of ended his pro wrestling career. It was about a year or two, he said.
That's just
during law school.
Did he interact with some of those wrestlers?
Well, you're talking about like 60, and he was bottom of the card.
Oh, yeah.
He never really, that's what the promoter was trying to get him to move up the card, but he had to be full time.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to let him stay in law school.
That's so great.
I'm obsessed with wrestling.
I've been a fan my whole life, too.
Especially like the luchadors, man. Like
Rey Mysterio was old school. The new ones now are insane.
They're insane. El Santo, El Diablo Azul. El Santo made like 27 movies. He's going around Mexico.
That's Mil Mascaras was the original.
He's wearing his wrestling pants, no shirt, and a wrestling
mask. Always. They never show their face.
Riding
in
around,
Mexico.
The best was
they always have their mask on.
El Santo versus the Crazy Lepers.
Batman doesn't go
right. You can't.
No.
El Santo versus the Crazy Lepers. The lepers get loose from the leper colony, and they're just ravaging the countryside of Mexico.
Jesus, have we gone off the rails?
Lucha saves Mexico.
I agree. I think that's about.
I think maybe the lepers get a bad rap, but I don't know.
So then I grew up. When I was born, we lived in Hyde Park. We had my mom. They had moved back to Hyde Park, and my mom took me to the park, and a police chased a stolen car through the park, and she said,
Deerfield,
"I don't know about you, Bob. I'm leaving." I hope you're coming with, but me and Josh are not going to be living here anymore. So that's what got us to Deerfield.
Oh, I got
at
you.
the time.
Got you.
And so I grew up at Deerfield, which was fun, a nice suburb, fun, no crime. Great football program at Deerfield High School where I played football.
Yeah, yeah.
What year did you graduate?
85.
85. So
I was 40 years this year.
I'm right behind you. I was 86.
Yeah.
So would we have?
So we got about 5 minutes here. The one last thing I want to get into is that we're friends for a lot of reasons. And one of the things that we really share, in fact, the three of us, is a love of music.
Oh yeah.
And we go to shows together.
Oh yeah.
We kind of are into the same ilk, and we're also got very diverse, taste in music, and we've seen some great shows together. It's not hard it's real difficult to lose Josh at a show because he's not only the biggest guy there, biggest Viking Jew there.
Viking Jew.
He has got the loudest voice. The singers often ask him to get on stage with him.
Sometimes.
But you're like even into it more than me, right? You go to New Orleans to Jazz Fest every year.
I've been going to New Orleans since 1990, and I was lucky enough to become friends with Art Neville, who was the oldest brother of the Neville brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I spent many Mardi Gras days at his house.
Yeah.
Doing crawfish boils, and
right.
I really loved him. I miss him every day. He was a real good influence, a good mentor to me.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful blessing,
and a real special guy.
Yeah.
And then I was also lucky enough to have Magic Slim, who was a legendary Chicago blues man, world known, who basically was kind of like, he would tell people Josh's parents adopted him to me.
Yeah.
As only Magic Slim could talk.
Yeah.
And his son was just in town at the playing. Sean is a blues player.
Oh,
he was just at the Kingston Mines this weekend, so it's always nice to see him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, his son plays.
I didn't even know about. I didn't know about this part of it.
Yeah, so that I met Magic Slim when I was 13, and he was in my life till he died.
Yeah.
And then I met Art in 1990, and we were very close till he died.
Yeah, right.
And what was interesting, I always thought was they were all, and my father, Art Neville, Magic Slim, or Morris Holt is his real name, and my dad were all born the same year, 1937. So I had these three kind of guys that were all the same age that were real mentors to me.
Yeah.
Real mentors. Yeah.
I'm glad we got that in because that's a really cool thing.
We should do a whole episode just talking about
music.
Blues,
for sure.
Music.
I had a whole list of, I was going to give you good lyrics that I love, and we could talk about lyrics. Made a whole list of them.
Well, man, you're going to come back, right?
Hey, man, you know that. We have many more shows to do.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, we talked about...
this was supposed to be this was going to be our show.
Well, that may happen one of these days. We still want to do a Josh and Mike react to films.
Cop films.
And tell you what's realistic, what's not, what we like.
And what we like, yeah. Even if it is, sometimes it's not realistic, but it's still fun.
Right. And Chris would be great with that because Chris is a true film historian.
A movie guy. Yeah,
I love movies, man.
So,
yeah. But music, I think for me and Mike is very bonding.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we both will go to see any show we can see. And Mike's had me come see people that I had never seen before. And I've told Mike about certain people that he then, like we were just talking about Lucas Nelson, we saw them the first show after COVID, remember?
First show after COVID, he did a show at Martyrs.
It was unbelievable.
My friend's own, our friend's
what
own.
A great Ray. Yeah.
And that's a small venue with great sound. And Lucas, Willie's son, if you're not familiar, he's a fantastic artist. That was an emotional
Incredible.
Show, right?
Yeah, so he's great. He has a new record. But I mean, we need to see more music, obviously.
Yeah, we do. I love it.
Yeah.
So, all right,
brother.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, love you.
I love you too, man. Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Great to meet you, too.
That's all we got. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks to Josh for coming in. As you can tell, it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. As you can imagine, we have a lot of freaking fun. So that's it. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll catch you again.
Abide.